You're walking down a crowded street. You're not looking at anyone in particular, and then, out of nowhere, you turn your head and someone is staring right at you. You didn't see them first. You felt them first. Most people assume this is some kind of sixth sense, a mysterious pull that can't be explained. But the real answer is far stranger because it isn't mysterious at all. It's mechanical. Your brain has a dedicated system for detecting when someone's eyes are locked onto you. And that system is working constantly, whether you're paying attention to it or not. Here's the reframe. You don't have a sixth sense for being watched. You have a very old, very specific piece of hardware built directly into your visual system, and it was never meant to be subtle. Let's start with something strange about your eyes that you've probably never thought about. Look at almost any other primate, a chimpanzee, a gorilla, a macaque, and you'll notice their eyes are mostly one solid color. The iris and the sclera, the white part around it, blend together. You can barely tell where they're looking unless you're right in front of them. Now look at a human eye. The sclera is bright white. It contrasts sharply with the darker iris and pupil. Researchers studying primate vision, most notably in what's called the cooperative eye hypothesis, argue that this isn't an accident. It's a signal. Human eyes evolved to broadcast gaze direction, loudly and clearly, so that other humans could read exactly where you were looking from meters away. Think about what that means. Every other close relative in the primate family tree evolved to hide their gaze. Humans evolved to advertise it. This alone tells you something important. Reading where someone is looking wasn't a minor social skill for early humans. It was important enough that evolution rewired the eyeball itself to make it easier to do. But broadcasting gaze direction only matters if someone on the other end is built to detect it. And this is where things get genuinely strange. Psychologist Colin Clifford at the University of Sydney has spent years studying exactly how the brain processes gaze. His research found that humans are extraordinarily good at detecting direct eye contact, even under difficult conditions, dim lighting, obscured faces, sunglasses, distance. And here's the part that explains your street corner moment. When his participants couldn't clearly tell whether someone was looking at them or not, they didn't guess randomly. They defaulted to assuming they were being watched. Clifford's explanation cuts right to the heart of it. A direct gaze can signal a threat. Missing a real one costs you far more than a false alarm. So your brain adopted a simple, ruthless rule. When in doubt, assume the eyes are on you. This is why you can sense a stare on a crowded train without consciously scanning every face. You're not checking each person one by one. Your visual system is running a constant low-level background process, sweeping your peripheral vision for the exact contrast pattern of eyes pointed directly at your own. There's another layer to this that makes it even stranger. Neuroscientist Atsushi Senju, along with researcher Mark Johnson, proposed something called the fast-track modulator model. Their research suggests that detecting direct eye contact happens through a rapid subcortical pathway, a shortcut through older, faster parts of the brain, separate from the slower route used for recognizing faces in general. In other words, your brain has built a literal express lane specifically for the question, am I being looked at? And that express lane can fire before you've even consciously registered whose face you're looking at. This is why a stare can feel like it hits you before you've had time to think. Because it does. The detection happens first. The recognition of who's doing the staring comes after, running on a separate, slower track entirely. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This system doesn't just detect gaze. It changes how your entire visual system behaves the moment eye contact is confirmed. Studies measuring brain activity have found that direct gaze triggers earlier and stronger neural responses than gaze that's looking away. And it also captures your attention almost involuntarily. Once someone locks eyes with you, disengaging from that gaze takes measurably longer than looking away from someone whose eyes are pointed elsewhere. Your brain treats direct eye contact the way it treats an alarm, something demanding immediate priority. Think about why this would have mattered so much to your ancestors. In a small group of early humans, knowing exactly who was watching you and why was almost as important as knowing where the nearest predator was. A held stare from a stranger could mean curiosity. It could also mean a challenge, a threat. the opening move of a conflict. Getting that reading wrong in either direction carried real consequences. So the system that emerged wasn't built for accuracy alone, it was built for speed, and it was built to err on the side of assuming you're being watched. Because in a world where eye contact could precede danger, a false alarm was far cheaper than a missed one. This also explains something else you've probably experienced without naming it. That distinct discomfort of realizing someone has been staring at you for a while before you noticed. It isn't just social awkwardness. Your fast subcortical detector may have been quietly firing the entire time, even while your slower conscious attention was pointed somewhere else entirely. Busy with a conversation, a phone screen, your own thoughts. The feeling of being watched can arrive well before the full realization catches up. So the next time you feel that prickling sense that someone's eyes are on you and you turn around and find out you were right, understand what actually just happened. It wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't a mystery. It was a signal, broadcast by a uniquely human eye, built specifically to be read, picked up by a detection system old enough and fast enough to notice it before the rest of you had caught up. You weren't imagining it. You were built to know.